just yet. One obvious element, there's no outside wall around most of this place, only on the front stretch. And we've seen a couple of drivers cut some grass already this afternoon.
Yes, we have. In late model practice, one of the front runners, one of the top contenders, Mason Diaz, cut a tire going into turn number one and went for a wild ride over turn number one into the grass, spinning that car wildly. But here's the thing. Some people will look at this and go, isn't that dangerous? I beg to differ. I grew up around some tracks that didn't have walls. If you spin at a normal racetrack, you're going to hit a wall. That hurts. B, that's a lot of race car to repair. These cars right here have runoff area when they spin and go off course. So there's a lot of drivers, especially in these support divisions like these mini stocks that I talked to today, that actually like this track because of that. It's an equipment saver.
It's an absolutely beautiful facility. Hats off goes to everybody, including Steve Zacharias, promoter and owner of this 0.4 mile oval, dubbed the Diamond of the Southeast. And for those of you watching along on FloRacing, you're going to get 2 days of examples as to why. First race of the weekend of the South Carolina 250 is about to get underway. The mini stocks for 50 laps. One of these drivers is going to be able to say they won on the South Carolina 400 weekend here at Florence. Here they come off of turn number 4. Kevin Jackson and Brandon Clements bring us down for the start.
Kevin Jackson getting the great jump right there, leading it down the backstretch. He's got about a 3-4 car length lead already in lap number 1.
One of the interesting elements there, Jackson chose to start outside of row number 1, and he was able to launch out to an early race lead. Meanwhile, your outside pole sitter, the number 7 car, Brandon Clements, dropping back a little bit. That's a 3-car knot in a battle for the second spot. Well, Michael Tucker looking low in the 31. Outside the black number 23, Zach Franks. That's your battle for the runner-up position.
Brandon Clements, that number 7 car, kind of looks like a little bit of a dirt car there. He's a guy that regularly competes at North Carolina's Wake County Speedway, has experience here. Heck, he was a 9-time winner at Wake County this year. He's no slouch in that number 7. Right now, he seems to gather that car back up, and it looks like he's back on pace here and maybe reeling in that leader.
You could bet when the field saw his name on the entry blank, they knew they had to up their game a little bit based on the success that he's had so far. And it looks as though this fight for second is starting to close up on your leader. Last time around, Michael Tucker in 3rd spot was the fastest on the racetrack. It's a good drive off of turn number 2, trying to size up the battle for second spot in 3, and he looks to the bottom.
Here comes Tucker on the bottom, looking for that grip off of turn number 4. Side by side down the front stretch, the battle for second place.
You see Tucker enter way low, and the car almost bottoms out a little bit there at the transition. That leads to the exit of the racetrack from the pit area. The car took a bit of a hop, and he had to concede looking down low for the moment. He'll slot back in line. It appears though Brandon Clements is trying to work the outside, which can be a preferred line for many competitors here. And so far, he's been able to fend off that challenge, but for how long as Tucker tries to draw even off 2?
Tucker seems to have a better drive down low besides that one little slip up. Looks like I think he's going to get this spot here. Clements right now, that number 7 is obviously just a little bit tight, that race car. The number 31 now taking second place.
The fight for second spot happening about 0.8 of a second behind Kevin Jackson, your leader. And it's now going to be a new runner-up in Michael Tucker. He makes the pass up into P2. Still committed to the high side is that of Clements. And we'll see now that battle for second has cooled off for the moment. We'll see if he can close up on Jackson.
Zach Franks currently in the 4th position in the number 23 car. That's a car that he customarily doesn't run. I walked up to him today and said, hey, man, I don't know you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. He said, actually, this is one of my best friend's cars. He didn't have time to run it this week, so he said, hey, why don't you give it a try? And right now, that's working out pretty good because he's in 4th place.
And just behind them, one of the cars on the move early, that number 24. We told you the story. A.J. Sanders is someone who has pretty much owned stadium stock record books at the Madhouse. He's also had success at many other tracks in this region, but some surgery put him out of the cockpit of this race car, and that's a rare occasion. If A.J. can, he will race. However, tonight his son Steven, he started a little bit further down the running order in 9th. He's already cracked the top 5.
We've seen A.J. Sanders before, have heart issues. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, he's back in the race car. This is a legend of the North Carolina, South Carolina area in mini stocks, also competing in late models. But his son, Steven, he's no slouch, too. He's a multi-time winner at Bowman Gray. Of course, right there, the 24, that the guy, A.J. Sanders, who normally pilots that, he's like a 58-time winner at Bowman Gray Stadium, one of the most winning drivers there in the mini stocks, the stadium stocks as they call them there, of all time. And pretty cool to see Steven, young son Steven, in that car, wheeling his old man's car. He was loose as heck in practice yesterday, but it looks like that 24 is dialed in tonight.
Looks as though he's about to work on Franks for fourth. Meanwhile, battle for the lead is starting to intensify as they come on the main straightaway. A bit of a moment by Kevin Jackson out of our peripheral, it looks like, coming out of turn number 4. That battle will continue on here in turn number 2. The gap was about a second just a few laps ago. And here is Michael Tucker. Started third, moved up into that runner-up position by being committed to the bottom of the racetrack. And he's closed up now to 3/10 off the back bumper of Kevin Jackson, who's led since the drop of the green.
As he's closed in on the leader, the number 21, I think his pace has slowed down a little bit too, and it's going to be a 3-car race maybe for the lead here momentarily. Steven Sanders taking that 4th position right now, so we'll score him in 4th position.
Down the front straightaway they come. 14 laps in the books, 36 to go. And this, the first feature event of the night, part of the South Carolina 250, presented by Tubbleston Cleaning Services. And you are watching the mini stocks where Kevin Jackson, check that, started outside front row. In fact, won the pole, elected to start up top. And right now he's got his hands full for the race lead with Michael Tucker going into 1.
Jackson and Tucker, lap traffic looming in the distance. 3 cars going for the lead here with 35 laps to go in this 50-lap affair. The 21 coasts it down into turn number 2 and 3. Here around, well, the swamp. Off the turn 3 and 4 right there. If you go past those trees, it's a little soupy. It's a little swampy. You don't want to go out there.
You saw them overtaking Ryan Moore to put him a lap down. That will tighten up this fight for the lead even more. Kenny Dixon out the front windshield in front of your leader, Kevin Jackson. Here's a look down to the inside. And that is the number 31 again, working down low. Michael Tucker inside for the top spot. Battle for the lead in 1.
Side by side, the number 31. Here comes Tucker. He wants to lead. He's got the preferred groove on the bottom. Here comes Kenny Dixon in front of him. Will lap traffic play a role in this 3-car battle for the lead?
And what's Brandon Clements going to do? Looks like he's trying to size up an opportunity as they go 3 wide through Kenny Dixon, a lap car, who yields to the bottom. Tucker bounces up the racetrack a little bit into the side of Kevin Jackson, and it's going to be Tucker taking the lead out of 2. Brandon Clements trying to follow suit as they come into turn number 3.
What a battle for the lead. And now the battle is on for second place. Give it to the number 7. Clements is now on the charge. What a race here at Florence.
Field now working their way around the outside of Chris Renaud in the 00. That driver finished 5th in mini stock points. Didn't nail the setup so far here tonight. He runs 12th.
And he's not French.
So, yeah,
it's not Renaud.
We were going
Renaud.
back and forth on how to pronounce
Renaud.
that one.
He said he's from South Carolina. Renaud is not French.
Kevin Jackson running in 3rd spot, got really loose off at turn number 4. And Matthew, this is the first opportunity we have to talk about the fact that this racetrack, located about 15 miles away from Darlington, South Carolina, very abrasive, even in a 50-lapper for these mini stocks. Who's going to have enough rear tire left to be handling well enough to be up towards the front with 29 to go?
Do you know why? Because, Sally sells seashells down by the seashore, and we're by the seashore, and there's shells in the aggregate of some of the pavement around here. We saw that. Oh, and now we're seeing, heck with shells. We got a battle for the lead.
We saw the Florence mini stock champion and Matt Briggs going to the pit area, and here comes Brandon Clements inside and through Michael Tucker for the lead off to Arizzi.
Tucker battling back right now on the outside, but no. He's going to give up that lead spot.
Oh, contact there for second spot. That was Jackson who washed up into the left rear of Tucker off 4, and they both keep it straight.
It's a battle royale right now as things start to space out, but that's letting Steven Sanders kind of close the gap. We might have a 4-way battle for the lead.
Sanders has to be absolutely loving what he sees out the windshield right now. So far, this race has been clean and green since the start, but we've already had 3 lead changes amongst 3 different drivers. More lap traffic in front of the leader. Clements out front. Tucker second, Jackson third, and there's Steven Sanders as we're going to be coming to halfway this time by 25 laps to go for the mini stocks.
Swansboro's, North Carolina's Brandon Clements in the lead right now, and he looks to be controlling the pace right now. But Steven Sanders in fourth position has now closed in on the number 21. We've got a battle for third place.
Leader getting set to work on some lap traffic. Here's that fight for third. How about Steven Sanders down to the inside? That car is looking to fight the steering wheel off the corner as he got back to the power. Sanders to third.
Lexington, North Carolina, looked like a lumberjack. Saw it on that wheel inside the number 24 Jerry Hunt Supercenter ride.
Have to admit, I was quite surprised to see this car ninth in the qualifying order. Thought even with Steven behind the wheel that this thing would be running a little bit faster on the stopwatch. He's still working that car, though, and he may not be done yet. He's trying to chase down second-place runner Michael Tucker. They got a lap car between the two of them, and Jackson continues to fade after starting on pole.
Man, I love that view right there coming into turn number 3 from high atop the inside of the racetrack. Really gives you perspective of that backstretch with no wall in it. And man, Steven Sanders, that car has come to life, or with the tire wear, has the other cars backed up to him. We were kind of talking about that with the seashells. Well, that's because this aggregate, this pavement is much like if you knew the old Myrtle Beach Speedway. It is rough. It's like sandpaper. It's almost like a cheese grater. Okay, every time these tires dance across it and glide across it and put that pressure into it, it's taking tire off that race car with every single lap. So if you don't save your tires here within about 10-15 laps, depending on the race car you're in, you got nothing.
And the best thing about that is it puts the success in the hands of the drivers and teams. How hard they are on the throttle is going to matter. It may pay off at the beginning, but it is going to hurt you at the end of this race, and we're just about there. We're with 20 laps to go for the mini stocks, and right now it is Brandon Clements out front. This is the fight for second starting to intensify as Steven Sanders is swatting flies in the cockpit of his race car, trying to close up the Tucker for P2.
What I'm most impressed with is, as hard of a track as this is to drive and to manage your race, no matter what race car you're in, this thing's gone caution-free.
Oh, yeah.
Did I just jinx it?
You may have.
I may have.
So far, we're clean and green. More lap traffic ahead of the leader as the fight for second comes across the start-finish line.
Here comes Steven Sanders poking his nose to the inside in turn number 1 and turn number 2. He's got the position right now, but no. Closing the door is Tucker.
I'm with you, Matthew. I love this turn 3 shot because you see how far to the edge, quite literally, of the racetrack they're going off turn number 2, and they may overstep that boundary as that right rear starts to give up grip. How about Sanders trying outside in turn 2?
How about that for some experimentation right there? Sanders going, well, he's kind of blocking that inside. Let me throw this number 24 to the outside, see what it's got out there. Or maybe he's going to peek out there and kind of trick him and dive to the inside.
Now that car is starting to get a little bit wobbly in the back end here, and they have fallen about 1.5 seconds off of your race leader in Brandon Clements, who continues to make his way through some lap traffic for now. While this fight for second continues to be the best one we've got going, it'll be 15 to go next time by.
Brandon Clements in the lead, but man, is it fun to watch that number 24 right now. That thing is a handful. It looks like he's serving up drinks in it or something. The hands are going left, the hands are going right. It's kind of like watching Carl Edwards back when he had the white gloves in the Cup Series, dance through the corner. But what a job of driving by young Steven Sanders, a third-generation driver. His grandfather, Archie Sanders, was one heck of a driver himself. Oh, he's flipping off somebody. I think he said that number 1 was number 1.
That's what it looked like.
It looked like it.
That would be Greg Tumbleston, who was the 9th place car that has now gone a lap down. As you see Sanders here, it looks as though maybe took some of the good off of those tires, and just as I say that, he starts to mount another charge on Tucker for what's going to be the battle for the second position. Again, still about 1.7 seconds off your leader, Brandon Clements, who may have been able to perfect his racecraft in this event that has, as Matthew said, gone caution-free.
Yeah. Well, luckily 13 to go. We're coming to 12 to go right here. And right now, he's comfy. He's got some lap traffic he's dealing with up there. But he loves seeing this battle in his rearview mirror because Tucker right now he's got a handful right now with that number 24 all over the backside of that number 31.
They go by Kenny Dixon, who had a bit of a moment off turn 4 1 lap ago. Starting to see some of these cars get really ill handling as Sanders tries to poke the bumper inside. Can't get there. He'll fall back in the tire tracks for now. Now trying to get a different arc into turn number 1 and 2. Sanders trying to move up the second spot. Last time through, they gained a little bit of ground on the race leader. It'll be 10 laps to go next time by.
The top of the scoreboard may say number 7, but all eyes right now are on the number 31 and the number 24 here at Florence Speedway. The battle for second going through lap traffic right now, passing the 00, passing the 18 car, using that outside groove. Not a place to pass. The lap traffic definitely helping Tucker.
They go around the Toyota Supra-bodied car of Truett Miranda, who just fell off the lead lap. Strong run for Truett there, who washes up the racetrack. Truett still running in 8th, despite being a lap off the leaders. And Sanders did lose some ground there that time. But, Matthew, we're starting to close it up at the front of the pack. 9 to go. The margin is down to a second.
Wow, it sure is. I'll tell you what, that 31 has woke up again. Sometimes these tires, if you let them cool down a little bit, they'll wake up. Or has the 7 car created too fast of a pace, and he's slowing down to him. That's the thing. We're going to see a race tomorrow, okay, a late model stock race. That's 200 laps, okay, and we're going to see comers and goers the entire time. That's because this racetrack presents that.
The rubber band effect is starting to play itself out here for the mini stocks. Our first race of the weekend, and the gap is now down to 3/4 of a second. We may be in for a 3-car fight for the lead for the first checkered flag and trophy that's up for grabs tonight. So far, Brandon Clements has led the majority of this race after starting on the front row. Tucker and Sanders trying to close. 6 laps to go. That time, Tucker was 1/10 of a second faster. Sanders nearly goes off the racetrack on the backstretch.
Wow. This is something else. The Kevin Jackson in 4th position right now, just giving him a shout-out for coming up. Robert Stremitzka in 5th, but all eyes are on this front lead right now, and Sanders right now is closing in on Jackson at number 31 car. This could be what the leader wants to see in his mirror right now, because they were gaining on him, but Sanders, losing patience, now is mounting a charge again for second place.
Fortunately for Clements, he's got some clear track ahead of him. He's got about a half a lap before he catches the next back marker. He may not get there with just 4 laps to go, and that time there, it looks as though Tucker was a tick quicker, but the sand in the hourglass is starting to run out. Top 3 starting to separate a bit. 3 laps to go at the line.
The jackets have come out in the grandstand here at Florence Speedway. The action, though, is heating up as this mini stock 50-lapper closes in on the finale.